Hello, Anna White.
For you.
Good to see you. Good to see you.
I'm so excited about, future.
I know there is lots to be excited about for this
Yeah,
future. Thank you.
you're welcome.
And for the next 60-minute piece that will come and they will spotlight you.
I do. Are you interested? I'm going to try to get a Zoom meeting with Georgia BioEd and Georgia Life Sciences. Maybe you can get a Zoom meeting and we
I would
can,
love that.
okay.
That sounds
Okay. So
great.
maybe
That
in January is a good time, sometime in
Yeah,
January.
January
Okay.
for sure. That would be
Okay.
great. That
Yeah,
would be great.
cool.
Well, welcome everyone. What a nice group we have joining. And I know December is so busy with everyone to be trying to race to the end of the year. So thank you for making some time. I am very excited about this career conversation. So we will wait just a minute to let people in. Um, and hopefully all is going well. We have only a couple more months of the BioBuilder Club to go, and we have our apprenticeship finishing up very soon. So lots of things in the works. So thanks for making some time. All right. We're at a critical mass, I would say. So with that, let me go ahead and take some time to welcome my friend and somebody I admire a great deal, Dustin Griner, who is joining us to share what I view as a fascinating career path that has been led by curiosity and talent and has landed him in some very interesting opportunities and positions. I don't know, maybe that's a big wind up for you, Dustin, but welcome. I'm really happy you are here. I guess I wonder if maybe you could tell me, Dustin, what maybe what started you on your career path and or actually let's go from the other direction. What are you doing these days?
So, by a very long and winding path, which I think you're alluding to, I am now the CFO at Keel Labs. At Keel Labs, we are taking various types of seaweeds, either invasive from the ocean or beach cast that is, already up on the beach. I want to kind of put that front and center, so because a lot of times the first reaction is, "Oh, we need all the seaweed we can get." Agreed. But we're not taking anything that anybody doesn't want us to take. We take that seaweed, we extract out the biopolymer alginate. We then cross-link that alginate into a stable form, a fiber form that can be turned into yarn for clothing. We've sold pieces through H&M, Outerknown, and Stella McCartney, which I didn't learn existed until I started at Keel Labs. And then single-use products as well. Things like femcare, baby diapers, baby wipes, disposable products that are really close to the skin because we're an all natural product and we're removing microplastics from the disposable close to skin products.
Wow. It is a wonderful project. And actually, as you're talking about it, I'm remembering that at the kickoff of the BioBuilder Club for this year, one of the examples that I gave was what you would do with these brown tides, these seaweeds, these sargassum that land, there are ways of keeping them from the beach, but if they get to the beach, they're really destructive, right? And
Yeah.
and so we use the example of keel as a way to think about turning what is a problem into something that is valuable and valued by others. So now, did you come up with that idea, or what's your role?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Absolutely not. So it really resonated with me when I found out about it because I grew up in South Florida. I grew up fishing in South Florida and surrounded by the sargassum floats, that look like islands when they're out there. And you're absolutely correct. If you pull them out of the ocean before they reach the beach, you can work with them. We work with them all the time. But when they get on shore, they almost immediately start to degrade. they almost immediately start to decompose in a way that off gases a lot, and it's gross, it's stinky,
Mhm.
um, and nobody wants to deal with that on their beach vacation.
Right, right. Yeah. Clogs a bunch of pipes and everything else. So I think it's amazing. It's a great way to convert something that is a problem for people and use biology to turn it into something that people really want. So what role do you have at Keel Labs?
Sure. So I am the CFO. I have learned more science in the past 3 years at Keel Labs than I think I did in my entire life. I am not going to be your prototypical BioBuilder interview here. I'm learning chemistry on the fly. I'm learning biology on the fly.
Mhm.
I am constantly having my scientists walk me through the basics,
Yeah.
so that I can better understand kind of our mass balance sheet and how to monetize what it is that we're doing.
Mhm.
That being said, I work extremely closely with the R&D department.
Mhm.
Uh, we can get into this, but one of the kind of keys to our success, one of the things that I would point to as our secret sauce and why we've been able to scale and why we've been able to achieve the success that we have, is a really tight partnership between the finance department and R&D, and
Mhm.
myself and the CTO specifically. We sit together and we design out the sprint structure. He runs 2 week sprints for all of his lab work, and we determine what features we want to chase, right? What product features we're going after,
Mhm.
what kind of dollar figure we're talking about, how much of a lift it is on the scientists, and really breaking down, are we getting the best bang for our buck?
Yeah.
Are you chasing science for science sake?
Yeah.
Or are you chasing scientific development that aligns with our business goals?
Right. Yeah.
And having a CTO that's hand in hand with me on those decisions,
Right.
and not to say we agree on everything, of course not,
Right.
but it's always a part of the conversation. Bringing the finance guy in at that level before any experiments start is, I think, truly unique. He's the only CTO I've ever met that's been willing to kind of work that way.
Yes.
Um,
I think it's so important and I wish it wasn't secret sauce because I wish everybody would do it, right? There is this idea of this valley of death, right? This space in the commercialization of an idea where you have an idea, you might have a prototype of it, but then you go through that whole effort to get it out to market. And you can't do that without somebody like you sitting next to the CTO, which for folks don't know, it's Chief Technical Officer. So somebody doing the science, somebody doing the business, working together to make sure that this is actually a company and something that somebody can buy and will buy and can afford it. So I think it's bright. I think it's great. So was that what you always wanted to do?
no, no. Yeah, so I am actually a lawyer and an MBA.
Mhm.
I knew my inclinations were towards business. All of my education was geared towards business. Um, I actually saw myself getting into consulting when I went to school. That was kind of the career path that I had in my head.
Yeah.
And just life happened. It's the best way I can describe it. I've
Yeah.
always been open to challenges and opportunities,
Mhm.
sometimes to my own detriment, but
Uh-huh.
yeah, I went from school. I helped build my family's construction company up, rather than kind of focusing on my career,
Mhm.
and really that couldn't have gone better for me and my family.
Mhm.
Got to a certain point where they weren't willing to take any more risks or really grow anymore. Um, and just by happenstance, friend of a friend, good network, I was introduced to the Keel founding team.
Mm.
And at that time, I was employee 12 or
Mm.
13.
Wow.
They were producing in grams per year, right? It was definitely double digit, but it wasn't 3 digit grams per year.
Mm. Per
Nobody on the team had
year?
ever
Year, you
per
said?
year per year.
Wow. Wow. That is small scale, right? For
Yes, yes, very much tabletop
yeah.
lab scale production. Nobody on the team had ever worked anywhere that had turned a profit. It was all academia. Not that there's anything wrong with that. I
No,
don't
no,
mean to
no, but
disparage.
it's a different talent, right?
That's right.
Yeah, it's where you need
And
to turn into a business.
the joke I always tell, it's the truth, it's just funny, is they were making purchasing decisions with thumbs up and a text message when I came on board, right? And I know we're dealing with a younger crowd that maybe that doesn't seem crazy, but when you're running a business to not have any sort of purchase request for it just to be a text message and a thumbs up is ludicrous. Nobody spends money that way. Um, and so I came on board and really brought in some best practices and okay, guys, we're going to professionalize this operation a little bit.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
need to make sure that the R&D department and finance are in lockstep and we're not just spending money for scientific achievement. It's we need to make sure we're pulling the technology in a direction
Right.
that makes sense commercially.
Absolutely.
Um, yeah, it's been a lot of fun.
Hmm.
And this past year we produced 5 tons here in North Carolina. So in 3 years, we went from double-digit grams per year to 5 tons a year, and next year we're slotted to produce 30,000 tons. That will not be in North Carolina. That will be at a third-party facility. We don't own that facility. That scale-up plan is a little different, but
That's unbelievable.
yeah,
It's such a fantastic story, right? Because that's what gets into the hands of people, right? Yeah. So that's fabulous. Well, congratulations on all that success. I mean, you have been able to run a victory lap around a number of businesses, from the family construction business to Keel Lab and everything else. And so, would you say that you were always sort of an entrepreneur kind of, or
uh, I would definitely say so. So even in my undergrad, I started a small business that was completely unsuccessful. Um,
uh,
and then in grad school, I did another startup while in school. I think I'm just a glutton for punishment. I really like
So
I
it's
like
very
to.
comforting to know that not everything you touch turns to gold, because
No,
that
no,
that
totally.
that can't be. I mean, that would be remarkable.
I,
Where did you
I
go
would
to
say the list
school?
of failures is 5 to 1 on the successes. It's
Well,
it's a
that's
lot
also
easier
a
than
pretty
someone
good
else.
ratio. That's a pretty good ratio. 5 to 1. If I'm at the lab bench, I would take
Yep,
that.
yep.
So that's so great. Where did you go to school?
I went to Florida State University for my undergrad degree. Honestly, it wasn't the best school that I got into, but it was the school that offered me the most money.
Hmm.
Um, I just chose a no debt path.
Hmm.
Got my business degree. I actually got the opportunity to live and do a full year in Spain as part of that business degree. And um, I think a kind of undercurrent to everything around my career growth and development has been pouncing at unique opportunities just because
There
I
you
think they're
go.
cool.
Yeah.
And so I got to live in Spain for a year. I already spoke Spanish, so that was an easy win for me. And I knew I wasn't done with my academic career. I knew I needed to get an MBA to go to the places that I wanted to go. And at the time, the top tier MBA programs had at least a 2 year work requirement, often as high as 5.
Mm.
And I had the grades and the test scores to support a top tier MBA program. And so I didn't really want to do that. I wanted the shortcut. And
Mhm.
University of South Carolina actually has an elite MBA program that kind of nobody knows about. And they were willing to waive that work requirement if I also went to law school. And so I went to law school to get into a good business school. Um, Again, there's another
Glutton for
undercurrent here.
punishment. I do
Glutton
hear
for
that.
punishment. That's
Yeah.
right. Um, so that's how I accidentally became a lawyer with no plans to be so. When I went through all that pain of graduating law school, which I did by the skin of my teeth, I'm a much better business student than a law student. Um, I decided to take the bar because it felt like a waste not to.
Hmm.
And so I took the Florida bar. I actually worked for a law firm for like, I don't know, 4 months just to kind of see what it was like and
Yeah.
see if that was something that I could do, wanted to do. The pay was much better.
Hmm.
But I absolutely hated that world and wanted no part of it. And so if you ever see me in a courtroom, it's because something has gone horribly wrong.
Horribly wrong.
Yeah,
Right? Call for somebody
yeah.
to help.
It likely means that defendant is before my name if I'm in a courtroom because
I hope
there's
not.
no way
Nobody
I'm
wants to
representing
see you in a
anybody.
courtroom. Yeah, yeah. That's funny. Yeah. Wow. What an unusual path to being CFO of an incredibly successful biotech company. I'm very, very glad that you pounce on these opportunities. I think that's great advice. You said you grew up in Florida. Were you always that brave in high school and
So I grew up in a very blue collar family. I'm the first in my family to really go to school right out of high school. My mom actually went to my mom went to college when we were kids to go be a teacher.
Mm,
Um, and so I have distinct memories of being, I don't know, 10 or 11, and my mom walking across the stage at the community college, and then being, I think it was 12 or 13, where she walked across the stage at FAU.
wow.
Uh, and it's just sort of, when you grow up in that kind of environment where everyone just works their butt off,
Yeah.
I'll say it politely,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like bravery. It's just
Right.
like there's an opportunity to do something that, could put food on the table. You
Right.
go and do it.
And you work. Yeah.
Yeah, and you
Yeah.
work, and you work hard. And
Yeah.
I worked construction jobs all the way through school, start as early as probably 13 or 14. I was on a construction site working with my family, and but the silly joke I always tell is I'm the only lawyer MBA you'll ever meet that can also hang your drywall. Uh, and as weird as it is, kind of full circle here,
Yeah.
a lot of that ability to kind of work with my hands, not afraid to get dirty, not afraid
Right.
to, wear a work shirt, right? It has
Yeah.
really helped us at Keel Labs of,
Mhm.
I can evaluate things so much better because I'm not afraid to go out there and get my hands dirty. I'm not afraid to, stick my
Right.
hand in
Yeah.
in the process, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
and it,
Yeah.
it allows me to understand it a lot better than just a spreadsheet. And
Absolutely.
it's very much served me well to have
Yeah.
that sort of mentality of, it
Yep.
didn't really feel like bravery. It just felt like, ah, there's a cool job to be done. Go do it.
Right, right. And yeah, let's make it work kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. I think that's wonderful. And I think you are among your people here. We have a lot of people here who would very much love to jump in and do a lot of things that seem like good opportunities and, want to see it work and things like that. So that's fantastic. So you've given a lot of very wonderful tidbits of advice from, pounce on great opportunities to roll up your sleeves and don't worry about getting dirty and take, the chances that you've got and work with good people. Like, if there was one thing you could tell your high school self, like what would you, maybe I'll ask it a little differently. What would you do less of as a high school student to get to where you are now? Like, what do you wish you had done less instead of more? Because you did a lot of stuff.
Too frequently, I spent energy avoiding work that wasn't that bad, right? Like,
Uh,
there's too many times that I can think of where it would have taken so much less energy and effort to just do the thing. Just do the thing. Um, it's just kind of in my nature. I always want to reinvent the wheel. I want
yeah,
to I want to find a smarter way to do things, and
yeah,
just too much of that. Too much time wasted trying to find a smarter way to do something hard. And the
yeah.
answer is just do the hard thing.
Sometimes it is just
Yeah.
just get it done and put it behind you. That is so true. I'm going to write that down and put it on a sticky note because it is very, very true. So, we have a good crowd online here, 20 some odd participants. So, they may have some questions for you. Maybe if there are folks online who might like to either come off mute and ask a question, or I will open up the chat and you guys can drop a question in there if that would be better. Um, so many pieces of this that are so interesting. Maybe I'll give the first question to Chloe because Chloe is a big fan of yours. Chloe, do you have a question for Dustin?
So yes, I have to say that I am a huge fan of Keel Labs and seaweed in general. Um, and so, you know, I think a lot of students like you have kind of so many different interests, and I think we consistently hear people have very circuitous paths to where they've ended up, where they're kind of satisfied now. But do you have any advice for students who are kind of at the crossroads of different paths and deciding um, where to go?
Yeah. So, great example for me. What I would advise is, I knew, I thought I knew, I didn't want to be a lawyer, but I felt the need to kind of cross that off, right? So don't be afraid to go into an opportunity and be honest, right? Don't go in there and burn bridges. Don't sell something that you're not going to live up to. But don't be afraid to kind of try out new positions. Starting a job doesn't mean it has to be your forever job.
Mhm.
It's okay to go in with that expectation of, you're going to have to take less money if you're not going to commit to the long term, but figure out if it's right for you.
Mhm.
It's okay, if you're going to fail at something quickly and move on.
Mhm.
There's been plenty of failures on my side, on my story, and I made sure that the failure wasn't going to be long term, that it would be short lived pain. Make sure I've mitigated my downside risk. So, when I went and worked as a lawyer, I moved back in with my mom,
Mhm.
because I knew I wasn't going to be able to afford rent for an apartment by myself in Miami.
Yeah.
Um, you know, and so I was able to do that fearlessly.
Mhm.
I lived in my childhood bedroom for a few months.
With a law
Essentially,
degree, though,
yeah,
an
yeah, with a
MBA.
law degree. Um, and worked for free at a law firm that I knew was a good firm. And if it was kind of like, okay, if I don't like it here, I won't like it anywhere.
Hmm.
Uh, and just kind of mitigating how bad that could be and going for it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's smart, to be able to like reach for something, but also have a safety net or to be aware of how to mitigate the downside if you're really gonna see what the upside looks like. That sounds great. That's amazing. Awesome. We do have a wonderful teacher, probably maybe more than one, but Anna White is on the line. She is a teacher in Georgia and runs the BioBuilder hub there with many, many teachers and many students. And she's hosting our regional final assembly in the Georgia area in March. And so she's great. Anna, does any of this resonate or bring up questions that your students frequently or approaches that they have or thoughts or questions they have that you want to share? Oh, you'll have to unmute though. Sorry.
I absolutely love your approach to life about trying everything, whether not afraid to fail. And for the fact that, you weren't in biotechnology, but you gravitate towards it. Just because you're in biotechnology now doesn't mean that you have to work in the lab, right? There's a lot of other aspects involved in biotechnology. So
Yeah.
I think that's wonderful. I wish all my students would have, just try it. If you don't like it, move on. It's what I
Mhm.
say in college. If you have a direction or you have a major and you just really don't like it, don't be afraid to, check that off and move on.
Yeah.
But that's great. But
Yeah.
you're close to Atlanta. Maybe you
Yeah.
can visit us in our final assembly.
I, we will get a special invitation out.
Yes.
There, there are times where I have to travel to just outside of Atlanta. I can't say more than this, but I can say this: Kimberly Clark's R&D headquarters is just outside of Atlanta, and so there's
Mm.
there's I'm there occasionally.
Okay.
Okay, great,
Well,
great.
I think
We're
these,
right in the middle of Atlanta in Brookhaven. I don't know if you're familiar with
Okay.
Brookhaven.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep.
yep,
Yep. So they're a little bit north. They're in Roswell.
that could be
No,
great.
we're more in the middle.
Yep.
Mhm.
Peachtree Street.
Okay.
Peachtree does.
Wow.
Everything is Peachtree.
Yeah. And for all the students who are on the line and listening, this is what networking looks like. This is how connections get made and how opportunities come about, right? You come off mute, you say something that, is a possibility and sometimes somebody will say, "Oh yeah, that's connected to this," or "I could do that." So I think it's very nice to see the chains move down the field in this way, which is very, very normal.
And
That's great.
Anna, to your point about biotech, not just being in a laboratory, even for the scientists, it's not just in a laboratory. So I've got a couple of really great examples from some folks on our team of, they came in as a lab tech and expected to be under a microscope, 40 hours a week. And we've got them on the production floor, that not all the time. But if they're passionate about taking the technology one way or the other, we give them the opportunity to build sprints. They have to be approved, of course, before we spend any money or resources. But we want them, even if they're at the lowest level lab tech, to see their passion project through to the end. So when we put whatever alternative they're suggesting, whether it's a chemical alternative or a process parameter that they want to change, they have to see it through all the way to our production line. And so they're on the production line floor are testing out their hypothesis
Yeah.
at the biggest scale that we have. We don't have access to the 30,000 ton a year equipment yet. But when we do, we're going to keep the same thing in place of, we want you to be hands-on with the thing that you're suggesting, right? You should own that suggestion all the way through, good, bad, or indifferent. And we take the same approach at Keel Labs. Again, luckily, I've got a CTO that sees the world very similarly to me, and that's helped a lot. Of, you need to own it, right? Whether it's good or bad, own the outcome and make it as good as you can. And nobody's going to be upset if you fail. Nobody's going to be upset if it doesn't work. We're all part of the approval process. We all share that responsibility equally, but you should really feel that victory when it comes through.
Yeah.
And when changes get made to our actual product that we sell, it's owned more. And so I think finding opportunities where you get to own your ideas really is impactful. It's not just trying something to try something, actually owning that and seeing it through to the end. It really makes a world of a difference.
Absolutely. Anna can correct me on this, but I think one of the pieces of magic around the BioBuilder Club is that the students do take ownership of their project ideas. They really, it matters to them and they think it through. This is really a student-led project.
It's kind of a process, learning how to take the opportunities also. And what I love about BioBuilders is when we do get together, they're in a room with other students with similar minded, and they have the opportunity to see their process and what they're accomplishing. And so I think that's a huge advantage.
It is. Yeah. So I don't know if any students on the line have seaweed oriented or ocean oriented projects that they would find interesting to either describe in the chat or share. I'm not going to keep Dustin too much longer. He has flown in on a red eye. So
I'm normally much perkier.
Then it would be hard to contain on Zoom. So, are there any students on the line that want to either ask a question or
Could I ask a
please,
question?
Warren? Yes, yes.
Um,
Can you
so
introduce
I know.
where you're from though first, please?
Okay. I'm from Cross Keys in
Crest.
Georgia. I'm from the Cross Keys BioBuilder team. We're in Atlanta, Georgia.
Thank you.
I know my mom and sister really love eating seaweed. So is it possible to make it taste tastier or make it more crunchy?
It's really funny question, and I'm probably the wrong guy to ask this to, because the kind of joke amongst the office and especially amongst the leadership team is, I work at a seaweed company and I hate seaweed. They always get those nori seaweed snacks and everybody, oh, you got to eat this, you got to try this. I'm like, man, I don't eat sushi for the seaweed. Like, the only time I eat seaweed is in sushi, and it's not for the seaweed. It's in spite of. So, Warren, I'm with you. I think seaweed tastes gross. It makes a way better shirt than it does a snack.
That's true.
But other than putting a bunch of hot sauce and soy sauce on it and some raw fish, I don't really have a suggestion there.
Okay.
That's hilarious.
Thank
you. That's great. Any other students who might like to add something? All right, then going once, going twice. All right, well, then we can thank Dustin for his time. I really do appreciate your being here. It's wonderful, wonderful to reconnect with you. Wish you every great success. And maybe we will see you at the final assembly in Georgia this year. We will give you a special invite for sure in case you can make it. It would be great. Yeah.
All right.
All right. Thank you for sharing your career journey with us. It's fascinating and it's wonderful. And I think it really is opens up some new ideas for people who wouldn't think of a place for biotech for themselves in the way that you have found your path. So that's great. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I appreciate all the kind words. I hope I lived up to them.
You sure did.
Filled me up pretty well.
Yeah. Awesome. It's great to see you. All right. Thank you all for joining.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
All right. Take care.